Sometimes you are the beginning of the change you are waiting for. I want you to sit with that for a minute. Because many times, we're waiting for somebody else to come fix it. We're waiting for someone else to start it, someone else to lead it, someone else to speak up about it, someone to organize it, someone to build it, someone to create the opportunity, someone else to bring the change. But I ask you, what if that person you keep seeing or waiting for is you? But what if the reason you keep seeing the need is because you're being called to respond to it? What if the reason it keeps bothering you and nagging at you and things keep crossing in your pathway is because there's something in you connected to the solution? Just what if? What if the thing you keep waiting for is waiting on you to begin? Like, what is it if it's waiting on you? You waiting on something else and it's waiting on you. See, creating impact does not mean you have to have every answer. It does not mean you have to have the full plan. See, that's where we get it mixed up. See, the knowing is in the doing. See, you can never possibly have all the answers. No matter how smart and brilliant you are, there's no way that you can have all the answers. But the knowing, information comes in the doing, in the moving through it, in the experience. It does not mean you have to know every step. You just don't. It does not mean you have to be the most qualified person in the room. It does not mean you have to have all the money, all the support, or all the resources. It just does not. You need to move. You need to be the one, the catalyst, so that the resources can be brought to you, so the money can be brought to you, so you can intersect with the paths you need to intersect with so that you can create the thing that needs to be created that's been waiting on you. See, sometimes creating impact simply means you are willing to start. One person's courage can create a movement. One decision can open a door. One act of service can restore hope. One purpose-filled step can become a catalyst for change. And that is what I want us to understand here today. Change does not always begin with a crowd. It's with one person who decides, I cannot keep walking past this. I must do something about it. So when I think about my own life, my own work, my own calling, I realize that so much of what I have been drawn to did not start because I had every answer. Let me say it again. So much of the things that I've been drawn to, because I had every answer. Because at some point, in some things that I started, I was winging it. But I got it together. I ran into the people I needed to run into. I talked to the people I needed to talk to. I learned the things that I needed to learn. I understood where and when and why I should do. But if I just kept standing on the curb and didn't step off, then nothing would have gotten done. It started because I could see the need. I could see the gaps. I could see the people. I sat with the people, talked with the people, heard the people. I could see the buildings. I felt their energy. I could see the blocks, what they used to be and what they now can be. Stories. I felt the pain. I see the potential. I could see what could be restored, rebuilt, healed, and reimagined. And sometimes this is how purpose calls you. You see it. You just start to move toward it. And trust me, it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be the perfect blueprint. But in the blueprint, you find all of the answers. Sometimes it will become a burden. It will feel as a burden, right? Sometimes you'll feel something happening to you that's a burden, right? And you realize that you need to be a catalyst to change this perception, how this is moving, how this is happening. Sometimes it'll come as a vision you cannot take anymore. Sometimes it comes as a question that keeps coming back to you. Who's going to do something about this? You're in conversations around people and everybody keep asking the same question. That question might just be for you. And at some point, that question turns inward. Maybe I'm supposed to begin. Maybe I'm supposed to do something about this. Maybe I'm supposed to make that call. Maybe I'm supposed to gather people together to make this happen. Maybe I'm supposed to open that door that's needed. Maybe I need to start the conversation. Just maybe I'm supposed to be the catalyst. See, a catalyst does not do everything. A catalyst starts a movement. A catalyst creates action. A catalyst helps something begin that may not have started otherwise. And sometimes we disqualify ourselves from being that catalyst, being that person, because we think we have to have it all together, we have to have it finished before we can be useful. Nope. But you do not have to be finished to be faithful. I'm sorry. Oh my goodness. Did you hear me? You do not have to be finished to be faithful. You do not have to be perfect to be purposeful. You do not have to be everything, all things. You just have to be. You just have to take the next move. Figure out what you think is the next right step. Sometimes the next right step is your assignment. Sometimes the first phone call is the assignment. Sometimes the first meeting is the assignment. Sometimes the post conversation is the assignment. Sometimes the first act of service, the first invitation, the first yes is the assignment. And once you move, other things move. Once you move, other things move. People begin to show up. Doors begin to open. Things are happening behind the surface, behind the scenes, around you, and you don't even know they're happening, and then it comes to you. Doors begin to open. Resources start to appear from everywhere. Clarity begins to become clear, right? The fog dissipates. Momentum begins to build, but it starts with somebody beginning to move. Somebody willing to move. Somebody willing to begin. See, just understand, being a catalyst does not mean you have to fix everything to be the reason something starts. You do not have to carry the whole movement to be the spark, right? You do not have to be the answer to every problem to be a part of the solution. Sometimes your courage is the match. Sometimes your obedience is the opening. Sometimes your willingness is the beginning of the chain reaction. Sometimes you are the beginning of the change you were waiting for. I believe this is very important when we talk about community, giving back, and creating impact. Because communities do not change because someone had a good idea. Let me say it again. Communities do not change because someone had a good idea. Communities change because someone cared enough to begin. Someone made the call. Someone opened the door. Someone invited the people. Someone listened. Someone served. Someone stayed. Someone said, this matters. Someone said, These people matter. Someone said the place is worth fighting for. Someone said, I may not have it all, but I'm willing to start with what I have, and that's enough. That is how impact grows. One decision becomes a conversation. One conversation becomes a connection. One connection becomes a collaboration. One collaboration becomes a movement. One movement becomes the change. But somebody has to be the first yes. Is that you? So this week, I want you to ask yourself, what keeps bothering me? Like keeps nagging at me? What keeps bothering me? Am I being called to help or change it? What need do I keep noticing? What conversation do I keep avoiding or having? What door do I need to open? What idea have I been sitting on? What community, person, place, or purpose keeps pulling on my heartstrings? And where am I waiting for someone else when maybe I've been called to begin? Maybe it's me. Because sometimes we're not waiting on clarity. Sometimes clarity is waiting on us. It's waiting on the movement. Sometimes we are not waiting on permission. Sometimes permission is already inside the purpose. We don't need permission. It's in the movement. Sometimes we are not waiting on the right time. Sometimes the right time begins when we take the next fateful step. So I say to you, this week, stop asking who is coming to change it. Ask yourself, what part am I being called to begin? Am I meant to be the catalyst? Am I meant to be the change? Because creating impact does not mean you have to have every answer. It means you are willing to start. One person's courage can create a movement. One decision can open a door. One act of service can restore hope. And one purpose-filled step can become a catalyst for change. And just maybe, you are the beginning of the change you've been waiting for. I'm Tonya Camille, and this is Tonya Talks, where we talk about the inner journey behind your outer success. And if this message resonated with you, I want you to take the next step and look at the Back to Being Me app. It's a space and place I created to help you come back to yourself, to being the best version of you, to reflect, to reset, and start becoming who you were always meant to be. Because sometimes, just sometimes, the greatest impact we create in the world starts with the work we do within ourselves. I'm Tonya Camille. See you next week.